Have you ever wondered why women in their perimenopause and menopause stage of life tend to accumulate more belly fat despite the fact that the portions they eat have remained normal and they are still consistent in their exercise? It just looks like the world of belly fat has ganged up against them. Everything they try just does not seem to work, and many women are frustrated. That is why I'm doing this episode, because I want to explain to you why that is happening. And later on, we're going to talk about how we are going to reduce that belly fat. So stay with me so you can get these details. My name is Dr. B. I'm a published health physician, and through this podcast, I promote health literacy and I help to explain complex medical conditions in an easy to understand way for you all to make the best informed decision about your health. So today we're talking about the accumulation of visceral fat, what we will call belly fat, just to make it easier for everyone to understand, particularly in perimenopausal and menopausal women. This is caused by an interplay of many things. The primary driver of this is hormonal changes due to the reduction of estrogen. The secondary driver is metabolic changes, and the third driver is lifestyle stressors. So remember the three key things: hormonal changes, metabolic changes, and lifestyle stressors are the three factors that are interwoven. And as I explained, you see that they do not work outside of the other. They are actually interwoven, and together they go on in a vicious cycle. And unless you are able to break that cycle, it's just going to continue ad infinitum. That means without end if nothing is done. So the first key thing, like I said, hormonal changes. Before a woman reaches menopause and in the perimenopausal stage, estrogen was the commander-in-chief of fat distribution in the body. So estrogen was the one that was going to say, fat, you go to the subcutaneous layer and you go to the hips and to the buttocks. And fat cells say, yes, estrogen, we heard you, we're going there right now. As estrogen reduces, estrogen says, I'm retiring, and then estrogen retires. And there's chaos, there's confusion. The fat cells don't know where else to go. Guess what? They go to the abdomen. They go to the tummy. That is the easiest place for them to go at this season of life. And so, because estrogen has retired, fat starts to accumulate in the belly. Before then, fat was in the hips and in the thighs. And not just hips and thighs, it was in the subcutaneous layer. That means right under the skin. But when estrogen retires, they start to get stored in the abdomen, not just under the skin, but around the organs. So that is one major change. Now, because more fat is in the abdomen and estrogen has reduced, one of the things that estrogen used to help to do as well when it was commander-in-chief of the woman's reproductive hormones was that estrogen acted as an anti-inflammatory agent. So estrogen was actually helping a woman to quell inflammation in her body. When that reduces, inflammatory markers, systemic inflammatory markers generally increase in most women. And when many women go for their annuals, they tell them, oh, this marker has increased. Yes, it's because you are losing estrogen. Now, what that does further is, remember, fat is now in the abdomen. The fat in the abdomen actually releases more inflammatory markers. So estrogen has retired, inflammation is going on, then the fat in the belly releases more inflammatory markers, contributing to the inflammatory chaos that is going on. And the interesting thing with the visceral fat and the inflammatory markers they release is women just feel funny sometimes. It looks like you're bloated. It looks like, you just feel bloated. It feels sometimes as if you've eaten and 1 hour, 2 hours after, it feels as if something is pumping gas into your abdomen. You actually feel the distension and you kind of feel some discomfort, some soreness of your abdominal muscle, and you can't explain it. Is it what I ate? Is it all of that? Some inflammation is going on because our dear estrogen has retired. Now, with more inflammation, you know, the body is reacting because inflammation is a kind of stress to the body. The body reacts to quell the inflammation, and what it does is releases cortisol, and cortisol helps you to store more fat into your abdomen. Another thing is that there's slowed metabolism because we are losing muscle mass. So in the reproductive years, you had adequate muscle mass. When estrogen retires and says, sorry, I'm no longer available, muscle mass also starts to reduce. Now, in the burning of calories, the muscles burn more calories than fats will do. So imagine when you're losing muscle mass, you are burning less calorie, and what you have more of, which is fat, is unable to burn as much calorie. So definitely you are accumulating, you're having, as it were, excess calories in the body. And guess what? Excess calories will always be converted to fat. So as you follow me, you see how this is becoming more of a vicious cycle, and the hormones and the metabolism and the last thing I'll talk about are all working in sync to gang up against us. In explaining further, muscle mass has been lost and there is more of fat. The basal metabolic rate slows down. Basal metabolic rate is simply the rate at which your body is metabolizing. When it is supposed to be good. When it is too high, it is a problem. And that's what you have in cases of hyperthyroidism. The body becomes too active, it overworks the heart, and it just stresses the body out. So that is not good. It's just supposed to be normal. And that's what we've always enjoyed. But because estrogen has retired, the metabolic rate now slows down. And when it slows down, it means the processing of food is slower. Everything is just going on at their own pace. They don't want to be stressed. They don't want to be bothered. But guess who suffers that? The perimenopausal and the menopausal woman, because she's the one who gets stuck with everything that is not burnt off, that becomes stored fat, adding more fat to the fat she's trying to burn. I hope you're still with me because I still have a little more. Another factor is the estrogen-androgen ratio. In the reproductive years, estrogen, like I said, was the commander-in-chief. Androgen was the male hormone that the woman needed. And the major one is testosterone. I mentioned that in one of my previous videos, and I talked about foods that will help you have a good level of testosterone. So sometimes in women, as estrogen is dropping, the imbalance is too wide. There is no static figure for the estrogen and the androgen ratio, because even in our reproductive years, depending on the phase of the woman's cycle, these ratios fluctuate. But it's supposed to be around a range. When the estrogen drops significantly, and androgen, even though it's dropping, is not dropping as fast as estrogen, there's a mismatch. And then it looks as if in some women, they are beginning to have more masculine features, and the upper body is looking more like that of a man than a woman. That is also part of what is happening, and that is also contributing to the accumulation of fat in the body. The final thing I want to mention is the third pillar, which is lifestyle stressors. In my last video, I talked about the fact that managing stress is not negotiable. So when you do not manage your stress level, guess who is the commander-in-chief? Cortisol, that bad hormone, takes over completely. Finally, what I would like to touch on would be sleep. We've always said that 7 to 9 hours of sleep on a daily basis is needed at this stage of life. Because one of the things estrogen also did for us when she was commander-in-chief was to help the body to manage the stress, the stressors that the body has. Now that estrogen is retired and cortisol takes over, we need more sleep. We've always needed sleep, but more than ever before, now it is not negotiable. Because guess what? When you do not sleep well, you're signaling the body to produce more cortisol. When you produce more cortisol, remember what I said? You would always feel hungry. Cortisol, like I said, tells the brain that you are hungry even when you're not, because cortisol deactivates the neurons that help to suppress appetite. So the message your brain hears is, she's hungry, even though you have excess calories in your body that you're still trying to burn off. And once your body tells you you are hungry, you will yearn to eat something. You want to eat something that quickly, fulfills, that gives you that satiety and makes you feel like, okay, I'm okay now. And imagine that keeps happening. You keep adding excess sugars into your body, excess calories that you do not want and that your body does not need. But the brain is telling your body that it needs it. So you see how all this is interwoven? The retirement of estrogen, the promotion of cortisol to commander-in-chief, and then what you do with your lifestyle by sleeping poorly, by just stressing out yourself in the way you know best to do, how this is making you to accumulate body fat. And in the next video, I will be talking about how we will break this cycle. Like I said, they ganged up against us to ensure that belly fat it is. But we are saying no to belly fat. Belly fat, we are going to overcome you. Belly fat, we are going to deal with you, and we are going to be healthy women. So watch out, because I will be identifying the strategies that will break that vicious cycle of accumulating belly fat in women. Until the next episode, I remain Dr. B. Stay well and stay safe. Oh, before I go, you think I would forget? Those of you who have not yet subscribed, yet enjoy watching the video. It costs you nothing to subscribe. Just click the subscribe button. And if you like it. With the like button, click on the like button. Share with a friend and keep the community vibrant by commenting in the YouTube comment section. Yes, put a comment there. Bye.